I'm waiting for you to go. Welcome back to the Beyond Condition podcast. Osborne sat next to you, not sat. Is it you?
I
Yeah,
found this person on the street.
yeah, literally.
Kelly CJ's here, who does the clothing.
Oh yes,
Kelly's
yeah.
here.
Hi.
Kelly.
Hello, how are you?
All right, thank you. You?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yes. So have you
Ah,
met Heather? I don't know if you know Heather.
I don't know if I do.
Heather will know you from the podcast. But we can't hear her because she's connecting.
Oh,
Sophia was
I
at
remember.
the
I remember. Hello.
She was going to come tomorrow to full board, but she can't get a dog sitter. You'll
Oh,
understand that.
yeah, that's why Dan's not here because he's looking after the dogs. We were going to bring Rogue, and then Emily's got a rescue pup, so I thought
She's got 3 Frenchies.
Yeah, she said when I checked before, she was okay with it, but I thought I'm not going to ask with the introduction of the rescue. I thought no, it's probably best to be Rogue at home.
Yeah, she said it's
Plus,
like,
Sorry.
oh, she is. Hello. Oh,
My mouse had died, it went connection lost. I'm like, no.
by the doggo. Sorry, who is that? Oh, that's a cutie. Just need to grab my water.
oh, look. Is that a pom?
We've also got an hour for Stubby's kicking.
Yeah. Romana's had her THC gummies, by the way, so she goes a bit.
Carly's got
like
an hour. About an hour. Yeah, fun.
I love it. I don't know if anyone else will turn up, but we will start, and then if anyone turns up,
Yeah.
you don't know with these things, it
Oh.
can be. Oh, we've got another person there.
Mm.
Vicky's in. Oh, she's coming to full board tomorrow.
Oh, wicked.
So Sophia's actually a dog groomer as her
Oh.
job.
Oh, we should have brought the Labrador. He's he needs a groom.
Because the first time she met, she was like, she heard me speaking, and she was like, wait, because obviously listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
So I listen to you every day doing my dog grooming because you just with the dogs all day.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Amazing.
hey Vicky.
Hello.
Hi, just 1 minute. So I'm in the middle of food prep as well as trying to listen to this. I'm juggling.
So you will be at full board tomorrow.
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm doing this now. Yeah, so I'm coming tomorrow. Yeah,
Oh, cool,
yeah, I'm
cool.
looking forward to it.
It's trying to because we're obviously looking at the next seminar location, and Sarah
Okay.
did London, didn't she? But then I don't know how many people from this way.
Yeah. I wonder if Birmingham might be better.
Birmingham's good, I think, for a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
people.
Birmingham is really
Birmingham's
good.
easy.
It doesn't cost a fuck ton just well actually it does because they're
Yeah.
outskirts of Birmingham. Outskirts of
Yeah.
Birmingham.
Because
Yeah.
probably, like you said, there's not many. There's like pure gyms and stuff, isn't there?
Yeah.
Which isn't.
Whereas you've got Kingdom in Birmingham, there's quite a few of them around, and I know he's always happy for seminars.
And then you might know someone from an Ultraflex also.
Oh yeah, there's an Ultraflex as well.
Yeah. So we will
Yeah.
try and
We
we'll
have
see what we can do.
options.
We've got options. But I know that quite a lot of people are this way, so it's trying to.
Yeah.
But then it might be that there's more.
There are more south. I've got quite a few southern clients who couldn't get up.
Mhm.
Oh, it was too far.
The UK is too big.
It is.
At least it's not Thailand anymore. That would be more difficult. Okay, so today we're going to talk about essentially, in a nutshell, looking after yourself.
Yeah. I've not done very well today.
We were saying, as bodybuilders, we're often forgetting how much we do in a day because we bodybuild. So it's like that's our normal narrative. It's like we do our training, steps, food prep, all the stuff. And more often than not, we're on the go all day, but that's our normal, that's our narrative, isn't it? So then when something, and a good example is when something comes up in your personal life and there's a big challenge that happens, or you get sick or injured or whatever, it can tank you to a certain degree. It can tank you more than a normal person, but you're fitter and healthier for a lot of reasons. So actually, you can recover quicker. So it's a bit of a
It's also then remembering that no matter what you do, whether that's physical or emotional or mental, you still got a certain volume that you can get before it starts spilling over. And the more you put in from different directions, the quicker that is going to fill and you're going to spill. And it is actually to help prevent that, it is actually really important to actually allocate yourself some time to stop, relax, and actually do nothing. Like I have to physically make myself like, right, so me and my partner from 7 o'clock, we're on the sofa, maybe 7:30 if he's had a busy day, but generally I'm on the sofa from 7 o'clock until we go to bed 8:30, 9 o'clock. And that is like
Sacred.
yeah, has to happen because otherwise we get no decompression time, we get no time together, and there's no time to relax before bed, and then I can't sleep. But there have been times before where I've been emotionally more at capacity and I've had to take longer. And actually, I've had periods where I've had to take a whole week where I'm like, I'm literally all I want to do is sit. All I'm going to do is sit on the sofa because I need to give myself that time. Otherwise, you're just going to keep fucking spiraling.
Yeah, it's I like the word decompress because it almost makes you think of decompress.
But that's a buzzword, I think,
Mm,
in therapy.
yeah.
Decompress.
But it's hard to sometimes know what that looks like as well, like you say. And also there sometimes can be a guilt factor too.
Oh God, yeah.
So it's like there's always food prep, there's always, certain things we can do. And also if a personal circumstance comes up, it's like we've got all of these boxes to tick. And actually what I've learned over the time is that you can push and pull things as long as essentially over that week you can. So if you need to miss a cardio, right, and then you do it the next day or whatever. If you're doing cardio every day, more difficult. Maybe you can double it. But it's like sometimes as well, speaking to your coach if something comes up to go, say you're traveling all day.
Yeah, yeah. This weekend's prime example.
Yeah.
Being on prep. I mean, it's happened that I needed a high day anyway, and with our high days, I don't do cardio on high days because it's counterproductive, and it's also counterproductive to what you're trying to achieve with the high day, burning it all off in cardio.
Yeah.
So that helped take some of the pressure off. And then I've also moved my split around because I know Sunday I'm going to be knackered. So Sunday will be a rest day. And I've trained 5 days on the bounce this week so that I can have Saturday and Sunday as rest days just to manage that fatigue. And even the whole way through prep, a non-negotiable is I have to have one day that is a complete rest day. So no cardio and no training, just steps, because my body's old. And mentally, I need that as well to then be fresh to hit the next week. Doesn't work for everybody, but we have to implement it because otherwise I get all knotted up.
I do think again, it's like this comes over time, learning your body, learning your mind, learning in a prep scenario. It's like I think probably the first 3 seasons, even it was just like, how much can I do?
Yeah.
Rather than like, what's this auto regulation? And sometimes you've got to be there to actually go, "Oh, fucking hell." And then I started to do what you do. So a rest day would be just the steps. I'd break them up over the day, and it would be no training, no cardio. But and it would always be a Sunday. I'd then reset, and a Monday, and then you start to sort of feel more fatigue as the week goes on. Then you've got Sunday, and then you can sort of keep going again. And also, it's like in a prep, I think that we can often underestimate how much we're actually doing, because if you're really gunning for it, if you're good in a prep setup, if you're like, yeah, I can fucking do it all, you don't clock it.
I remember 2020, so lockdown, obviously, gym shut, prepping for what turned out to be my pro card.
She didn't know that.
But like with the gym shut, I was doing steps, I was running as a bodybuilder, I was going for a run.
Guys,
Yeah. Could not do that now.
you're not allowed to sleep over now.
Yeah.
Took her out.
What? But I also take myself off on 3-hour-long bike rides. Just three, and that what you said about auto-regulating. So I used to know that I needed a rest day because I turn up at the gym and the thought of doing a rep made me want to cry. And it's like, actually, I need to rest before I get to that point, because if I'm going to the gym and I'm so fatigued that I want to cry, because the thought of doing a rep is like, oh, I just don't have it in me. And it wasn't like boo-hoo. It was literally, I can feel myself getting emotional at the thought of training. My body, my mind is telling me not to. It's recognizing that before you get to that point. And that's why we have the complete rest days in my prep, because it's just my body and my mind can't take it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's valid as well. High days, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Actually utilizing, because depending on how you're coached and what have you, like my coach previously would say, you've got a high day this week, and then I'd get to choose, and I can do that. But if you're not experienced, sometimes you can think, I'll put a high day when I've got the cardio, when I've got the weights, when I've got all of this stuff. And actually you don't feel so much benefit.
No.
But you do, again, it's like that guilt factor of, I can't eat all this food, it's not even that much. But
yeah.
sort of feel like, oh, I can't have all of this food on a rest day. Also, the scale weight maybe tip up and stuff like that. And it's quite a complex thing, and it's quite hard to sometimes understand that until you get to do it multiple times and you get what works for you.
So we will do. So today I trained with a high day, but tomorrow's a rest day with a high day.
Yeah, nice.
Ideally, we'd like a high day on a leg day, and then either a high day before or after it. But I've hurt my knee, so I can't.
But if
train
you get
legs.
double ones, you can obviously then do that, can't
It's
you?
normally a high day on a rest day and a training day.
Yeah.
So it's training utilizing the food, but also then resting utilizing the food to actually fill up to then be able to go again. Because otherwise, all you're doing, you deplete the glycogen,
and you
get
got to go
flat,
and then
you
you're
keep
on low
going,
day.
you keep going, and nothing's changed because you're just fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is also as well, I've done preps where I've had, I mean, in my last prep, I think I had 2 high days. Fucking savage. It was low days all the way through. But now on reflection, I know that high days are going to be a good.
Like Dan, bless him, we're March tomorrow, and he's been on prep since just before. Well, it was just before New Year, the Friday before New Year.
Wow.
He hasn't had a high day yet.
Yeah, that was what mine was like. And in some circumstances, you just got to get the fat off and.
Yeah, he's like, I liken him to that barge that got stuck in the Suez Canal that took like 5 months. That's how long it takes him to move in any direction. So unfortunately, it does take him longer to get leaner.
Yeah, and then high days as well. It's like sometimes your coach might put it in as a peak practice, or
Yeah. So it's all data gathering.
Yeah,
from
and
that.
I also found in high days when I get macros, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna put those that weren't. Again, it's like, when you are fatigued, when you are pushing, when you are emptying your cup on the subject of, trying to fill that up, you can sometimes preference like, what are the delicious foods
Yeah.
and you start using if you're flexible dieting, you start using your macros on foods that aren't really going to help.
Satiating or clean or productive.
Yeah. And you squeeze stuff in.
It's also like back in my very early beginnings of bodybuilding, a high day, it was like I'd have an off plan. I mean, I did last year as well, but yeah, that's a different story. But it was almost like, oh, I can go for broke. It's like high day doesn't equate to cheat day.
And that's what you sometimes.
And what you said about, practicing peaks, if you're given a high day by your coach and you actually go, oh, well, I'll just have 3 extra squares bars because, it's a high day, it doesn't really matter. Well, actually, your coach is trying to gather data based on what they think you've eaten.
Yeah.
And if you've gone away and eaten X, Y, and Z on top, then it's like, well, what do I know? I don't.
And sometimes as well, I think with the fatigue, hitting you and you're getting deeper into a prep, your hedonistic approaches to when you're allowed food, as it were, because it's like you're allowed, isn't it? It's like, oh my god, this one chance. You can then sort of spark these sort of food pathologies and things because you are fatigued, you are wanting the food, your body wants the food. It's not normal what we're doing, and then you can try and squeeze things in that then exacerbate how hard the prep is.
Yeah,
because you're just not in a level head at times in a prep.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons why we're not doing Five Guys on high days.
Yeah, she got 5 guys in the last prep.
Yeah. It was high day thing.
Yeah.
You mother, it's because I'm bikini.
Well, I actually
I don't get it.
It messed with my head more than I got gratification from the food because it was like you have that spike in the scale weight, you then dig all the way to check in, and I might drop below by Thursday. And mentally, even though I knew I needed the high day, it was that kind of.
I don't know if I want it because.
Whereas we did our first high day, proper high day last weekend because I think I had high days for the seminar, but I wasn't really. I'd only been on prep 2 weeks, so that didn't count.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did our first proper high days last week without the Five Guys, and I was only up £2, and by Thursday this week I was £3 lower than I was the Friday before the high day. So it's just a little bit different mentally to kind of get your head around.
Yeah, it is. When you're challenged in this scenario, it's like it's really hard to sometimes quantify how you feel as well around the foods and the high days and what happens with the scale weight. And again, it's like if we don't get this time in a week or in a day to top up the cup, you can end up getting a bit more irrational. Maybe you don't enjoy the food, and you're in this spiral, and it's sometimes quite hard to then even communicate. Actually, like I don't really know what's happening here.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
It's like that, peak week when your steps are reduced, but you feel so uncomfortable because you're so lean that you actually don't want to sit still and sit in that uncomfortableness.
Toxics.
I remember like pro debut being given a step count of 4K for one day, and I'm like, but I was before that like 15K. So dropping from 15 to 4, I was like, that's just going back to the toilet in my Airbnb. So I was
Yeah.
on prep 3 days out in Poland on an electric scooter,
Oh, for
going
God's
to get my
sake.
shopping with little bags dangling off the handlebars, trying to get my way down this little Polish street, kind of going, what? How I didn't die is a miracle.
That's what I do love about bodybuilding and different shows and stuff. You make these like stupid memories, and you're like, "This is so weird," but it's really
Yeah.
cool because you're like, "Oh, it's not normal."
Wandering around Budapest, because my first two pro shows I did completely on my own. Nobody came with me, and it's the tail end of a pandemic. And I was around with a backpack on my back, a backpack on my front, and a bag, just like a couple of days out, kind of going, I'm in Budapest, I don't speak the language, I can't read the writing. Where's my Airbnb? And I can't afford an Uber. I have public transport. No, I didn't get lost. I have no idea.
Do you find as well with the social anxieties?
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
find in a prep that gets worse or better or same?
It's kind of it kind of does this. So at the start of prep, before it gets spicy, and I've got the brain capacity, it's like my overthinking allows the anxiety to creep in, and then I get so fucked that I don't give a fuck. And there's no, like, I can't waste energy being anxious. So my prep actually in a way makes anxiety reduce for me. But it's, yeah, at the beginning of prep I still have the cognition to feel anxious.
Yeah. So your mental capacity almost goes down, doesn't it? Over
Yeah.
prep?
I don't it's I suppose actually I still do get anxious in prep towards the back end of prep, but it's more to do with the preparation for traveling. So like when we were preparing, initially we were going to spend 5 weeks in America, and it was like I can't mentally cope
That's
with
a long
the
time,
thinking
yeah.
of what I need to take for 5 weeks away.
Yeah.
So we reduced it to three. Was it three? Yeah, three in the end, which was a lot more manageable. But it's still that, right, what do I need to take to getting everything packed? Then it's getting the car loaded, getting to the airport, getting on the plane. Like, all once I'm at the Airbnb, things chill. But then I get it as well about, I don't get it about being on stage, but going to the venue for registration, not knowing what the venue's like, not knowing where I need to go, what
Yeah.
that sort of, that makes me feel quite anxious as well.
It's because it can be quite a heightened as well. This where I've spoken about it before. It's like the day before, if you can, because you have to with a pro show, you sometimes have to go and meet people and stuff. Don't you?
Yeah, well, it's you have athlete for the Olympia. We had the athlete meet and greet the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that was horrendous. The meet and greet didn't start until 7:30, and it's like I'm normally in bed at 8:30, and I'm still sat there at the table, and I've still got to go and get my tan. And Dan had to go to the supermarket. Oh, it was just, yeah, that was, yeah.
Because you want the energy for the next day.
We had to kind of bring it, and there wasn't anything to bring. It's just like I'm faking it till I make it here and trying not to zone out half. And it was really overstimulating because the athlete meet and greet was in the actual like night show stage for the Olympia. It's in that venue. So you've got the whole lights for the actual stage.
So that's like,
Yeah, everything else is dark apart from a few sort of downlighters. Music, people, like it was the stimulation just mental. I remember getting back to the hotel room after my tan, and Dan had gone out, and I was like, I just need to sit and not do anything for about half an hour because I just try and come down from it all.
you get that, CJ, don't you? It shows.
Yeah, massively. Like the finals just gone. It was a really good experience, but there were so many different activities going on and so much noise that by the end of it, like Sarah would tell you, it was pouring from me. The anxiety dump that I had just before going on stage, it was great, but it just kind of was like, where if it was just quieter, that you had that little bit of disconnect, you're able just to step on and do your thing then. But yeah, that was difficult.
Was that Fit Expo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there with Eval. That actually, it might shock you. and it shocked me at the time. So pre-judging for the Olympia is like you might as well be on a FitX stage.
Oh.
It's in the middle of an expo.
Yeah.
The only reason we knew it was the Olympia stage was because we could see Sean Clarida and Keon up on stage, and it was like, oh, that's 212.
Yeah.
So that must be where we're going. Both Dan and I just both looked at each other like, is that it? Like, this is the Olympia. You've got like strong men over there, and I don't know,
Yeah.
Mutant was blasting out music over here, and oh, it was just
Yeah. Yeah, and if you suffer that, like that, just that, too many pops and whistles and stuff, it's a great experience, and I recommend anyone to do it. But for me, I just wouldn't be able to I didn't bring my best, and I wouldn't have been able to bring my best again. So for me, I'll always choose a dedicated
yeah.
bodybuilding show, just because that's what I like. It keeps me comfortable.
I got off stage from the Olympia pre-judge, and Dan, all he wanted to do was give me a hug. And I had to say to him, I was like, I know this sounds horrible, but I can't cope with being touched at the moment. Like, even you, I can't cope. And you're walking through the expo and people are barging in, like they barge into you. It's constant noise. You're having to waddle around people. And it was like, I just remember having to say to him back in the hotel, I was like, I'm really sorry, but I feel anyone touching me, it hurts.
Like an overstimulation.
It was complete overstimulation. I ate, I slept, and I woke up in a completely different mood the next day.
Yeah.
But it was just too much. Just too much.
I think we drove home in total silence. Like there was no radio. It was just quiet, you know. It was like, oh.
We sit in silence for about half an hour.
Yeah, and even my brother said afterwards, he said, like, as we were walking back, he's like, I didn't want to say it at the time. He's like, but there's not a chance I would have been able to do that. Yeah. He's like, because he's the same, and he was like, there's no way. He's like, so, like, fair play to you. He's like, but I was there thinking, nope, no way. Just so loud.
That expo,
just so loud.
Because, yeah, you had powerlifters one side, then you had CrossFit down the end.
It's like,
yeah.
There was like BMXers going round in like this circle thing. You had cage fighters, you had the cafe. So it was, wasn't it? It was just nuts. It was, and it was open. So like, if you went to try and alter yourself or anything, you did not know who, was kind of either side. So yeah, wicked experience. But if you're someone that does, just take note that you'll need even your earplugs. Like you're lying on the floor and it's like, just everything. Yeah.
Also, with those loud environments, the energy it takes to project your voice to just have a normal conversation with somebody, that, like, especially with my voice being slightly deeper now, I find that when I have to project, it takes even more energy.
For sure.
And then when you're depleted, it just feels like even just answering a simple question is just sucking the life out of you.
Yeah.
I couldn't even answer a question when I was in prep. I was just,
you can see
out in expo, like I was just like,
it's so weird when you get to that point and you can like see someone talking and you're like, I don't really understand what you're saying. They're talking.
Yeah.
I was posing a client, and he was about 6 days out from a show, and he was flying to America the next day or something. And about halfway through the posing session, I was like, when did you last eat? Oh, about 3 hours ago. Why? Because I can tell his face just went, Are you okay? He's stroking out. It was literally, and I could just tell anything I was saying was just going in one ear and out the other, and he was gone.
Yeah. I think this as well, it ties into the communication with people in a prep, because you can definitely, Matt was the first, well, obviously I was with Kieran before, but when I was with Matt, like, first time he's seen someone prep, we're 4 weeks into our relationship and I go into the prep and like holiday, this stuff, and then I've communicated it and said, look, bodybuilding my everything, you either stay, and you know what it's like, and then throughout the prep he'd like say like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, cool. And then it got to a point where he was like, are you okay? Like, you can tell me, you don't have to, consume all of this. And for that whole prep, I was like, definitely in that mindset of like, this is weakness if I just say this is really hard. and I just couldn't bring myself now being back in a diet, not a prep yet, diet. Today earlier I was like, I do feel the fatigue.
You turned
And
up.
I
I
can
was
just
like, "You've not eaten yet."
No,
You
but
got
the fasting. I'm
It's
like,
like, hi.
yeah. And then it's like when we came back, when Romano was training, I was just like, this is the point, and it's funny I'm talking about it now, but I was like, this is the point where it's like, I'm not struggling, but it's harder.
Yeah.
And I felt okay saying that, whereas before I would never have said that because I'd be like, that's weak, I'm moaning. It's not moaning, you're just saying, I feel really heavily fatigued at the moment.
It's
So they know.
Dan and I will just go, feel a bit preppy. And then we'll get into bed and it'll be like,
I'm glad we've made it
the
today.
day is done. Okay. Yeah, I'm good. Like literally.
You can have a bit of banter as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go very quiet, so does Dan. So we just move round each other. But yeah, it's my brain completely went on that Olympia prep. To the point he was having to text me how much salt to put on my meal after he just told me because I couldn't retain the numbers.
Well, also you can get forgetful in a prep. And if I'd forget things with Matt, it wouldn't matter before, but because we're actually communicating in a partnership, it would be like I would almost feel like really negative about myself if I forgot something because I don't normally forget things, and then I'd be like, oh fucking hell, I
Yeah,
forgot.
you get frustrated with yourself, don't you?
Yeah, and then you sort of emit this like not necessarily negative, but you may be a bit closed off because you're feeling frustrated with yourself,
Well,
and then it's
I had it Wednesday. I had a posing client and they messaged me at 10 to 10 going, are we still on for 10 o'clock? And I was mid-session because I'd completely forgotten, partly because I transferred my phone and my calendar hadn't
got a
probably
burner phone now.
Yeah. Like it really got to me that I had forgotten that this person was meant to be posing with. And he said in the end, he was like, actually, it works better for me because I've got a really hectic day. Let's do it next week. And I've got more time. I can enjoy it a lot more. But I beat myself up about that
For sure.
for the rest of the day, kind of going, I forgot, and then I forgot something else as well. So I was like, oh, I'm just forgetting fucking everything.
And
Yeah.
I think as well, like beating yourself up, whether it's you forget something, whether it's you've had to move a training session, whether it's you've missed something or whatever, that then ticks away. We've spoken about this, Carly, where it's like you then start doing food prep and you get agitated. Then you might measure something extra because you forget what you met, and then it has this knock-on effect, and you start becoming this sort of stress ball.
Yeah.
And you're like, I like things a certain way, and that's not gone right, and that
spiraling.
Yeah, and then
Oh yeah.
And then before you know it, you're at capacity.
Yeah.
I forewarned Will, bless him. I got to like about 8 weeks out, and I was like, right, just gonna give you a heads up at this point. It's probably gonna get a little bit nasty. I was like 4 weeks. Yeah, no, I was probably about 4 weeks away from the Welsh, and then I had like another 6 or 8 weeks after towards the British. So I knew the territory that I was heading in because I was already so much leaner than I was the year before, and I could just feel that my like ta-da was kind of going. And he's such a happy-go-lucky person. And I was like, look, it's not you. It is prep. It is dark. It is hard. Like you will see. And he's doing it now because he wants to experience it. Never's going to step on stage, but he's up at 4. He's doing it. His meals have gone from being this huge thing to like he's like looking at me. He's like, I understand. Like I get it now.
Started using a teaspoon or a baby spoon to eat.
Oh, he's finally on the teaspoons. Like I used to watch the big one. I was like, oh, it's not going to be long. It's not going to be long. And now he's like, I'm never going back.
For bizarre reason, this off season, Dan was still struggling to force feed with a fucking teaspoon. I was like, if you actually got a dinner spoon, it would be like just shovel it
I
in.
love my little spoon.
But in off season, you can't use a little spoon. You just
Yeah.
can't.
And there's certain things it's probably appropriate to use a big spoon.
I prefer a bigger spoon in prep because I feel like I'm eating a bigger mouthful of something, so it feels more satiating.
Doesn't it take you?
Pardon?
Like you eat it quicker though.
She saved it.
Yeah, you just got to keep it in your mouth a bit longer.
43 times.
Yeah.
I still always eat my cream of rice though with a teaspoon. I make it in such a way that it lasts me. I can eat it. It take me like 40 minutes sometimes. It's like the best meal of the day. That's a breakfast before the gym.
I can't in off season. I can't cope with 40 minutes, and it's only like an hour before the next
How
one.
many times do you eat a day?
In off season, it's 5 or well 6.
Yeah.
5 during the day and once in the night.
What, in the middle of the night?
Yeah. Whenever I wake up, yeah.
Do you?
Do you?
Night snack.
Yeah.
Why? Why? Why
Oh,
do that?
it's good.
And because of the shift work, I don't recommend it to everybody. Like Dan can't do it; it messes with his
I
digestion.
like that.
He's not used to eating in the middle of the night. But where I did 20 years, where I'd literally switch my body clock around, and I'd wake up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, have my breakfast, and
Yeah.
have my meals that way, and I'd be eating normally up until about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's just
It's stuck.
Yeah. My brother and my dad, though, I remember my dad used to get up at like 2 in the morning. He'd go downstairs, he'd have a tin of tuna, jack potato, and then he'd go back to bed, sleep. Get back. Yeah.
My dad would go down and have cheese sandwiches.
Honestly,
Yeah,
honestly,
sandwich.
You know what I mean? So you
brother's
get in
done
the
it.
middle of the night, cheese sandwich. What?
Yeah, just to keep it, just to make sure they're getting like those 10 meals in, because they were, Ty's still old school, but dad, when dad was doing it, was the late 90s, early 2000s and stuff. So, it was 10 small meals a day. And how he did it was always, even now, he said, I could never tell you what I weigh. It's a fist, and a fist. So he picks up a fist of chicken, fist of rice, fist of whatever veg, and that will be his portions. And that's what, and he'll go, oh, I'm hungry. Okay, I'll have a little bit more. I'm all right. I'll take a little bit less. And he's always gone off and it's always worked for him. If I did that, I'd be massive.
But so Americans use, don't they? They have cups. They measure everything in cups.
I can't do that. Blows my mind. Cup thing. I've got to Google it. Work out what the alternative is in
The
grams.
size of a cup.
That's what I always think. You could get a
It's
big
like
cup.
you get your little British China teacup, and then you've got a Starbucks cup. Like 1 cup of rice in a Starbucks cup in prep is not the same as a.
It's
Why does my
not.
weight keep going up?
Yeah, I'm following the plan, coach. I'm following the plan. I don't know why I've gained 20 pounds.
We could actually talk about as well with the changes in scale weight throughout, because that of course will tax us mentally. Again, thinking about filling up your cup and what's serving you. There's so many things that can cause the scale weight fluctuations, of course.
Yes.
But even the fact of stress, anxieties, all of these things that can actually have a knock-on effect to that, and you wouldn't maybe necessarily, because you could think I'm eating on plan.
Yeah.
And the scale weight can sometimes
Lack of sleep. So my thing, like when I was doing night shifts in the ambulance service, if I had to check in after a run of night shifts, and I'm on prep, guaranteed the scale weight would be £3, £4 up. And it's then trying to explain to the coach exactly how little sleep I've got, and then they're going, well, why aren't you sleeping more? It's like, well, you want me to train, don't you?
And I need money to pay you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, I think you should get a letter from your GP to sign you off night shifts. Well, if I do that, I lose 25% of my earnings, so that's not an option. But yeah, lack of sleep messes with your hormones. Hormones messes with the scale weight. Stress messes with your hormones, messes with the scale weight. And I think it's very underestimated with females how those fluctuations, it is so hard. And like as you work through your monthly cycle, again, you're going to have peaks and troughs in your weight depending on what your hormones are doing. And it's a fucking nightmare.
It is. It's hard. Like I spoke about this on a pod the other day that hasn't gone live yet, but my scale weight ticked up a little bit, not much, but I was like, okay, just see what. And I've got to the point where it's just I look at the number, put it down.
Yeah.
And then me and Matt managed to have like 2 hours watching TV the other night. I said, Jesus, I'm gonna be accountable and tell you that I'm having 2 hours. And the scale weight, I dropped 0.8 overnight, and I was like, I've literally changed nothing.
Because you've decompressed.
And that's it's so valid, but again, it is quite like I have to make myself accountable to do it.
Yeah. I've I'll be sat on the sofa to Dan, what are you doing? And I know he's doom scrolling through Instagram. It's like, you shouldn't come off your phone, come and sit on the sofa. I've not seen you all day. Because it is, otherwise we don't spend any time together. And he's just, yeah.
It can be nourishing, can't it?
Yeah.
Or, even if there's something you want to do, like a hobby or whatever it is, we've spoken about this on the pod quite a few times, haven't we? Drawing, reading, stuff like that. But again, I find, walking the dogs. I find I get to a point in prep where I can't seem to consume a book.
Oh, I can't consume a book at the best of times.
Yeah, I'm not really.
It's that you're so uncomfortable that you can't focus on things.
And you're fucking starving.
I find during prep, I have to watch things that I've already watched before.
Good move.
Because you know what, even it's normally stuff I haven't maybe watched for quite a while, but I generally remember. But then there's other bits that are new because maybe I wasn't concentrating during that part last time. But it's the only thing I can really focus on if I know kind of what's going to happen. So if I start watching something new, it's just no idea. And I generally end up watching trashy reality TV like Married at First Sight or Love Island or something brain numbing like that, because again, it's all I can focus on.
And that's if you end up putting chill out time in and actually it frustrates you that you're doing something for someone else, or if someone says, if your partner or your friend and they're like, oh, let's do this and this would be really nice, but you don't really want to do it, you sort of feel stressed when you're meant to be relaxing.
Yeah, I think relaxation isn't as easy as people make out. It's quite actually, you have to really focus on relaxing. It sounds like
it sounds weird, doesn't it?
Phones over there, and I'm literally, all I'm going to do here is sit and watch that or talk to them or do nothing. And it's almost having to focus on that. Because otherwise, before you know it, your relaxation time gets distracted and you're on your phone or you're on your laptop or you're internet shopping or you're talking to people or whatever. That's not relaxing because your brain's still going.
Stimulated, yeah. And depending on what you're consuming as well.
Yeah.
Obviously with social media and things.
Oh, I thought you meant drugs.
Oh, drugs, yeah, drugs.
Clen.
Clen, remember if you are using things like Clen, yeah, the shelf life. And I didn't realise it's like 23 hours for Clen, isn't it? So it's the whole.
Yeah. What was it? Even the over-the-counter fat burners, like your Grenade, your HR Fever, that sort of thing, they're stimulants. They're going to upregulate you. You need to take that time to allow the parasympathetic nervous system to do what it does and chill you the fuck out, because otherwise you'll just continually de-upregulated, and that's when the stress, and that's when the scales don't move, and that's when you start getting more
information. It is when you think about how much you might consume in the morning, because you get up, you have coffee, you might have CV burn, then some people take their Clen and whatever else on top, then you have some people. I knew I was stupid years ago when I take fat burners then on top of that, like when shred balls were out, so you'd be sweating. Do you remember then? Oh my God, like the Conte fat burners now, if I was to do one of them now, I sit there and I might sweat for 3 hours. I go through like 3 or 4 loads of clothing. I can't do it. I'm like that. No, I do CV burn and I have my bits and pieces now and that's it. But when I think about how much I used to I'd have a shred ball before training at like 5, maybe 6 in the evening. I'd be lying in bed and wondering why. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Yeah, I know why.
Just disgusting,
isn't it?
No one has anything good to say about it, but everyone's taken it.
I mean, it was great. Night shift, brilliant, bloody brilliant. The best thing actually was T5 Superheat, which had ephedrine in it.
Oh, the old ephedrines.
Back in like 2010, I remember this was pre-bodybuilding. I think I was marathon training back then. And my old housemate at the time, she was like, oh, I really want a physique like yours. She was very pear-shaped. Her hip bones were never going to be a size 8. Like
genetics.
Bone structure, it was never going to happen. But she had these T5 things. And we noticed it was acting odd. And I found them in her room and I was like, I'm going to try one. So I took one before a night shift. And this was at about 2 p.m. I was still awake at 11 a.m. the next day, having eaten about 2 meals all night. And I was there like...
It's like speed almost.
And it is ephedrine.
Yeah, ephedrine, a derivative.
And it's why things like Sudafed have got fake ephedrine in, but it's why you can't buy multiple packets, because that's what they use to make methamphetamine. Actual.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the thing as well with, supplementations and stuff. Again, it depends on the coaching program, but like I get all the supplements that my clients take, and then you can monitor that through the prep, because there's some things that you wouldn't know that could be a bit of a stimulant or...
Coaching a client for a natural federation was a complete...
You have to really check.
Oh my God, that was... Yeah. She's like, can I take this? Can I take... I don't know. In all honesty, I don't know.
The list is for everyone.
And the list is... and the list is all in like it's all their actual chemical compound names.
Yeah.
So they're then called something different as a brand name, and it's a complete nightmare,
And you're allowed to take your Himbine in natural federation,
which is madness.
yeah, it's
Horrible
used
thing.
more and more.
Horrible.
I can't take that. Whoa.
No.
No,
I
within
got
within
offered it.
about 2 days, I'm suicidal. Like it's really, I can't no, it's not worth for me. The risk reward, just not worth it. Not at all.
Increases
What
anxiety.
does that do? Does that chill you out, that or something? Rohim by.
Him basically,
Oh, yeah,
isn't it?
Fat burner.
Oh,
oh,
is it? Oh.
Yeah, fat burn. Yeah,
Fat
essentially.
burner.
Yeah.
it's it upregulates your sympathetic nervous, so it will increase your heart rate, increase your core temperature.
Super.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And if you run at like anxiety fueled, or if you run at kind of high functioning, all it does is just increase that rather than like bring it down. And if you maybe suffer with dark thoughts, sometimes it can like really massively exacerbate that, and people can go from feeling a bit shit to just like not having a clue what's going on. And it can literally be a small tiny bit of the himbine. I've seen it happen. It's happened to myself, and it's just
5 milligrams during the Olympia prep. I think I lasted 4 days, and I was like, I can't do this. I was again like shaking, but not like tremors, like anxiety.
yeah. Psychotic-y, like you just don't know what's going on. It's awful.
I wasn't
I feel
quite.
like something's bad.
I was still able to rationalize, and I could work out that it was the himbine, so it didn't fall full down the rabbit hole. But it was enough like, Dan, I can't, no, this is not worth the rewards. Like the actual it's got like a 2 to 5%, I want to say, benefit.
Minimal return.
It's what's the point?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think as well, like any of these things, PEDs, when you're talking about stimulants, some people clen as well, some people it's going to be fine. Like clen and your himbine, I'm fine with, but I'm not normal, but I feel fine. So I'm not like a normal functioning, but I'm literally like this. But my clen went up to 120, and I was on 20-year himbine for
Oh my.
and that was like you're like an 80-year-old, because I was literally like this all the time, and it's a very strange sensation. So mentally I felt okay, but you're taxing your adrenals so much.
Oh my God, yeah.
And you're doing what you need to do, but you're not normal, but you feel okay, so you feel like you are normal, so you start to adapt to what normal is as a bodybuilder. When you prep, your normal is absolutely not normal. You don't know.
While we're on the subject of the stimulants and prep and that sort of thing, something that I found has worked a lot better in the last couple of preps is, quite often you get to the end of prep and coach is like, everything out, pull everything out.
Yeah.
So you then withdraw and fucking crash. And that on top of, being in a low body fat state with no hormones, anabolics have been pulled. So you are flat as a pancake, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, everything's gone. And now now you've taken away the caffeine and wondering why you're feeling quite so shit. And then that's the potential to turn to the food sources that make you feel better and give you that dopamine kick, because you just feel so crappy the rest of the time. Actually, what I've done is start tapering.
I do that.
Yeah.
It's almost like a 6-week taper.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've got my Dosset boxes, my little pill boxes. I set them all up.
Conscious of the memory.
Little peak week kind of ritual is to set up my post-show supplements, and I'll literally, almost like a placebo, I won't know what days I'm taking what dosage. So I'll wake up, I take my morning sups. They may or may not have the clen normally does come out pretty instantly, to be fair, but it's more the because I use HR fever, so it's more things like that I'll then, and if like the Olympia prep, we use thyroid, like T3, T4, which I haven't had to use before. So tapering off that as well.
Yeah, taper is a good.
And that has really helped. But I have had it where coaches have just said, pull everything out. I've gone, okay.
Yeah, like thyroid support, take it straight out. And it's like, whoa. Also on the thyroid subject, it is used more often now, and we've spoken about this separately with, it's a pharmaceutical drug, and it's something that's recommended more and more now, and
like it's a smartie.
Yeah, and
have some vitamin C and a bit of T3. Yeah.
And speaking from personal experience, Romana's empowered me to be able to talk about it. She's gonna go, oh yeah. I've never really spoken about it, maybe touched on it, but I might have Hashimoto's from using thyroid medication for a
Yep.
prep.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing that to get to stage. Now I might have a thyroid condition for the rest of my life, and I didn't realize that could be a possibility.
Yep.
And it's upsetting, to be honest, because I will do everything I'm told to do if it means, getting to stage in the best condition I can. And it went far beyond what I needed to do because I'll do it. And, this type of stuff, we maybe don't, I know we always say it, right? It's on you, you're taking it. However, when you are in a prep scenario, you're vulnerable, yeah. And it's not till I had to process it myself and then sort of spoke to you about it. And
Yeah.
you're like, I think it's something good to talk about. It's like, I'm not blaming anyone here. I still did it. There's no,
It's like my voice. I did.
yeah, we're not blaming,
No.
but remember that you are vulnerable at times with, potential what your mate does, your coach says, whatever it is. And it can be difficult because, again, it's on you because you take it. However, it's quite hard sometimes when you're in these settings to actually make rational decisions.
I would say if a coach is telling you to take T3 or T4 and they haven't asked for blood work and they're just putting it in a prep because it's a tool they use during prep
For fat loss.
is just ridiculous. Because for myself, I know that like I can do a good sort of 4 months on prep and my thyroid will maintain at a decent level. I don't need thyroid support. The most I'll take is the supplement needs thyroid sac because I don't need exogenous thyroid. And I also felt like so shit when I came off of it that I don't like having to use it unless we absolutely have to.
And
So
for a
we,
short space or whatever.
yeah, and having, if you want to look at a specific marker, you don't have to pay £200 for it. You can get your thyroid markers done. I can't
For
remember
maybe
the-
60 quid or something.
Yeah, I can't remember the price off the
Yeah.
top of my head. You can have just your thyroid done. You can have just your testosterone done. You can just have your liver or your kidney or your full blood count. You don't have to go out and pay £200 for everything. Yes, that is ideal. But if your coach is suggesting to put in, I want you to go on FemTest, well, have they asked what your testosterone level actually is? Because that's probably a good start. Go and get it done. Go, it's 50 quid off the top of my head and
Yeah,
most
50,
and quite a lot of
60 quid.
testosterone can be done by a finger prick test. So you don't even need to try and find somebody to draw your blood. You just prick your finger, send it off in the post.
Yeah.
You can have those, and it is really crucial to have those markers looked at for things like that. Do you need it?
Yeah, that's the thing as well. It's like, you can do your own research, you can ask your coach questions and stuff like that, but it's until you get a side effect or you get a long-term health condition, how do you know if you're okay with it? And that's why I sit with it, because I'm like, I did it, and it was a sick exploration getting that shredded. However, I probably wouldn't opt for a thyroid condition for the rest of my life.
No. I know somebody else who went to a coach who put them on T3 and T4, no blood work, left that coach, went to a different coach who upped their T3 and T4. And then they started feeling really bad, really, really bad, swelling up, itchy skin, rashes, went to the GP, blood work done, ended up with something called toxic thyroid syndrome, which is really dangerous because of the amount of external thyroid support they were taking. And it's just madness.
It is wild when you do think about the bodybuilding space. Some of the things we are doing it. If you told a normal person, they'd be like, "What? You take medication to get lean?"
And what gets me, the amount of you I don't know, in conversation, oh, my shoulder really hurts, or I've got a headache. Oh, have you taken any paracetamol? Oh, no, I don't like to take tablets.
Yeah, no bodybuilding.
Don't like to take tablets. But you'll stick a bath full of syringe in, like, somebody's put that in a sink. You'll put that in your body, but you won't put a couple of paracetamol for a headache. You'd rather bitch
I
about
think the thing is, there's still been, up until recently, a massive stigma about any females or anybody really, unless they're lads in the gym, talking about what they take and what they don't take. Because females will put trust in coaches, they'll do a little bit of research and then believe most, because up until recently it's only been a male-dominated industry with coaches, isn't it? So they've been used to dealing with males. So a lot of females just trust what they're given, they do it, they don't really question it. The more vulnerability you get into your prep, and we know people take more than what they say. I've done more than what I've said before. You don't always tell the truth because you think people are going to judge you or whatever, but all it does is just create this secretive, like, and talked about danger with women and with men that lead to really bad things, and like people then have to reach out. And I think this is the way to change it, is by actually openly saying, look, it is there, and just understand it.
Ultimately, we were talking about this a bit earlier this afternoon. I was in quite a difficult position when I sort of was competing and in the ambulance service, and then started, Sarah and I started doing podcasts together 2022. And it was hard to be open about it because I worked in the NHS and not knowing how that would affect my job plus my paramedic registration. Now I'm out of the NHS. I try and deflect the question rather than lie, because it was just, I didn't know if by opening up about that, if somebody from work would see it, would they report me? Would I lose my, all kinds of shit. So that's, people have different reasons, but I think it is important for those that feel happy to and confident to and comfortable to talk about it openly. What I will say in defense of coaches, to a tiny little extent, yeah, they need to do their research, they need to be responsible, they need to advise clients to the best of their abilities. But one of the biggest factors, and it's not limited to bodybuilding, unfortunately, there is a massive lack of research in sports physiology on women. It's all done on men. A lot of it is, some of it's social constraints, but it's also, when you think of the bare bones of science and what the nature of doing research involves, it involves controlling every single variable other than the one you're wanting to test. The problem with females is our hormones fluctuate so much throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout the year, person to person. It's so hard to actually control the variables when it comes to doing research on women. So it is a massive gap. I know America have now introduced a law that if they're doing research, it can't be gender discriminative. They have to include an equal proportion of male and female in any research that they do.
They're always ahead of us with stuff like that.
How enforced that is, I don't know. But still, it's going to take a long time for that research to be completed and then published and, discussed. It's not an excuse, but it's just kind of putting in perspective why some of it. And then on top of that, you've got the whole fact that, women with muscle was too masculine, and why you should be in the kitchen, just what you're doing in the gym, before even that's,
it's hard as well, because and talking about who and what serves you also in this webinar, it's like when you're in a difficult scenario with, if it's friends giving you pressure, whether it's work like your scenario, whether you're like, there's so many different things that can happen in this space as well, and that can add to you almost just kind of, I don't know what to do.
I freaked out the other day, didn't I? Because you put up my Instagram reel from the seminar.
Oh yeah.
And it told me that it linked to Facebook. And I don't put really anything bodybuilding related on Facebook because I've got family, friends.
Her mum doesn't, from the pod, her mum.
My mum was like, she'd get me sectioned.
Put your muscles away.
Yeah, literally. It was that kind of like, oh fuck, and it didn't link to Facebook, but I still have that over certain. I'm comfortable in certain spaces, but if I thought my mum was going to listen to the podcast, then
if you do find it's like the isolation in all phases, isn't it? A lot of bodybuilders are very, and this is what's good about what we're doing with the podcast, because we're all the same, and then we're like, oh, there's other people that are the same. But that's tricky as well when you do become so isolated to actually know how to.
With Dan and I, we live in our little bubble down in Suffolk.
Yeah.
And we've got a bit better because we have actually started training. I've been training since the end of prep in a public gym as well as our gym. But
She's managed to go to a public gym.
But now Dan started enjoying it. And both of us at the moment through prep are finding the environment's actually really positive and motivational being around people. But otherwise, we kind of basically just see each other and his parents occasionally. Yeah. And then I venture out into the wider world.
We've spoken about it before though, haven't we, with like letting each other in and being friends on the level we are. It takes time of showing up for each other, and that finding who does serve you. It's like, I always say this, the reciprocal energy that you can gain is often what allows you to let someone in. And it's very difficult because I'm sure we've all been burnt, and if there's some real fuckers out there.
Drains and radiators. People
really
are either draining you or radiating their energy.
Yeah.
You need to stay away from the drains and surround yourself with radiators. I think we've all probably had that friend where you're like, you see their message or you see their phone call and you're like, oh God, what are they moaning about now?
And you're like, I just won't make any more threat. But
Yeah.
then you can, again, this community that's building, it's like actually, I think when you can find passion in someone, Dan said this when I had him on the pod, he was like, Romana could be passionate about, I think he said golf or something. And I wouldn't,
Socks.
I wouldn't care because
Yeah.
you're passionate about something.
Yeah.
And I feel like as well, we're, you know, doing these types of things, we're showing up for each other, and you can sort of think, well, you know, you can sort of start to bridge the gap a little bit more with people. But then it's like you can still fucking find the fuckers, can't you? And you're just like,
It's for me, it's finding people that add fulfillment and
joy.
and actually intriguing conversation. And then I think as you get more and more into bodybuilding, I don't know about anybody else, but you sort of realize that your pre-bodybuilding friends you tend to spend less and less time with because they're talking about how they ended up with this guy at the weekend because they got absolutely
Did you hear about that?
Jack Daniels.
Oh,
Or like, oh, look at this bruise. I fell over because I was so pissed. It's like,
I don't find it funny either.
No.
Like, I'm so awkward. Like when we're with normal people, however you want to frame it. Like I don't find that many things funny. Like I don't watch comedy and stuff. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just a bit, and like Matt's like,
Well, you don't laugh.
yeah, I'm just like, you know, when it's like,
Not even funny.
did you hear about this and did you hear about that? And I'm like, I just don't find gossip funny. I don't find it's not bringing anything to me, and I'm just like, I don't really get. I don't know. I'm just like, I just feel really weird in this scenario.
yeah, it's like I lift heavy circles.
Yeah, I like bodybuilding. I
Yeah.
like bodybuilding. You can't like it that much. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
No, there is more to life.
But going out and getting pissed isn't more to life, really.
It's funny as well because when you do, it's really funny in the narrative when you go out with people that are not bodybuilders and you're fine with your Diet Coke or water, and it's them asking you, "Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you?" And I'm
It-
like,
but
"I'm
it's that-
fine.
it's
I'm
like-
fine."
oh, go on, just one won't lose. And then I think, yeah, but one turns to two, and I just think, no, I just don't. And I don't go out with people who drink anymore because I like them when they're sober, and when they're drunk, they turn into dickheads. So if I want to stay friends with people, I won't go out drinking with them.
When they start drinking, then they start getting touchy.
Oh, and they want to touch your shoulders and they want to smooth you and stuff. It's not nice. I hate it.
Yeah, they're standing talking to you and they're like breathing on you with their alcohol breath, and it's like,
Yeah.
What's good as well, if you don't ordinarily drink, like if me and Matt were on holiday and I'd have a Disaronno by choice, and he'd have a gin, or like
Dan will have a strawberry daiquiri.
Yeah,
Man, he is.
yeah. I mean,
Pina
if you're in
colada.
with a pink vape,
Yeah.
when you're in a scenario where it's like, you know, you might have a drink, and I'm not adverse to, I wouldn't get smashed because I don't know how it feels, but if I had a drink, you get quite straight away.
Yeah.
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Which I think I still have too much residual tolerance from my 20s and early 30s, unfortunately, where I did do a lot of drinking.
That was like on the Valentine's one. Ramona was like, "Oh God, I feel like I'm judging myself here. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've done all these things."
Yeah, it was literally. But again, like last time Dan had a drink was a few days after the Olympia. We shared a bottle of Prosecco,
Oh no.
and I drank most of it. I think he had a glass, and we then wandered around to a park, and there was had to pop into a shop and stuff, and he's there putting loads of random food in the trolley. I'm like, Dan, we go home. I think it was like the next day or the day after we went home. We're never going to eat all of this. Put it back. We're then waiting for the Uber with our shopping, and he's like literally trying to talk to every single person in
Oh
their
my
day.
God, I love it.
Oh.
I'm like, get in the fucking Uber.
This big stacked
He's a
card.
big man when he's pissed, and you're trying to like
Because
direct
then it's quite
him.
fun. It's like novel, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite funny. Like
Yeah.
last time Matt and I had a drink, we were just laughing, and we were like, "This is really funny," but it's just having a little,
buzz.
yeah, and it was
It's
like,
not hammered. It's just a little.
I felt
Oh,
quite relaxed.
It's environmental though with your partner, isn't it? It's like if you go out for a steak and you have a glass of wine with each other and you have a nice time, that's really nice, and you go home with a nice memory. You're not going to go down Marston's down the pub, have a buy one get one free, and drink 5 or 6 pints against
Those
that.
days are gone.
fries.
Oh
Like
my
I could not imagine anything worse. I'd be like, why no? Like, it's or like if you go down the beach and you might have a barbecue, so you take a bottle of cider with you and you watch the sun go down. It's environmental, but even then I choose other stuff over alcohol. Really.
Yeah.
Romana with the THC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any
I
day.
haven't tried, still good. I haven't tried THC. So Romana's been using it for a sleep supplement.
Yeah, because my brain doesn't switch off.
And you find that it works?
Yes,
Mm.
I do. Just sort of mellow.
Mhm.
Then I take my sleep saps and I can actually go to sleep.
Well, that's the thing as well with bodybuilding. You can often have a busy mind or a over-functioning mind almost, can't you? Because it's like there's a reason why a lot of us are attracted to it.
Yeah.
And it can because there's so many boxes to tick that actually that makes us thrive.
And I think as females, we're more predisposed to overthinking. I don't know about anyone else with male partners, but I'll like say to Dan, "What are you thinking? Nothing." Like, really? Are you thinking nothing? It's like, yeah, nothing. I'm about to go to sleep. I'm like, well, I'm thinking about this, that, whatever, what I've got to do tomorrow, what's happened today, what's happening now, what the dog's doing, like, what's that noise, what's that light, what's that beeping? And he's just like, nothing, nothing.
Will's asleep within 30 seconds. Like, he literally hits the pillow, gone. I'm there like,
Dan's falling asleep like
and
that.
I might get up to go and clean the flats. Yeah, it's gone. 30 seconds. I'm like, you okay? He's like, I'm happy. I got nothing to think about. Good night. I'm like, I wish I was like that.
If I could live in their brain just for a
Yeah.
day and respite, that'd be lovely.
Whereas Matt has anxiety, did you know?
Yeah.
So he has what you're describing there, where it's like, but he puts his CPAP on and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
That must be a like soothing. Like,
Yeah, I've had it described as like a safety blanket.
Yeah.
With a male bodybuilder on the pod before. He was
Yeah.
like, I put it on and it's like I'm safe and I'm comfy and I've got my safety blanket and then.
Have you tried an actual weighted blanket? Because they can be quite good.
Mm,
I used them in the last winter. I used one. I haven't this winter because
Like
it's actually
feeling-
been too hot. Yeah, it's about. I think it's something like 6 or 8 kilograms in total. But it's all these beads and this blanket, and it just it's meant to be again stimulates down regulation of the sympathetic and up regulation of the parasympathetic. So
Okay.
fill you out.
Just thinking about that before we wrap up as well with thinking about, and this is completely directed in a different conversation, but when you talk about parasympathetic and sympathetic, I was just thinking about when I first learnt about that, it was about when to eat. You know, when you after you train and you're like, and then you try and eat, and then it ends up, and you're like, oh, and you're not utilizing the food properly. I was just thinking about that because it was like,
So your sympathetic, I might be teaching you to suck eggs. It's the get up and go. Your parasympathetic is your rest and digest. So the way we were taught to remember it, paramedics are slow, parasympathetic. That was very nice of one of our lecturers. But yeah, that's how I remembered it.
and I was because the first time I learned about it, my coach was like, you want to try and do your training. And obviously you're driving there, I'm training. And then you want to try and have that, like, whether you go for a little walk before or whatever, before you eat. Because I would, like, finish my workout, literally walk out the gym.
Well, I'll still do that sometimes. But it's, some people will or can throw up when they're training. And part of that is to do with the fact that when you upregulate your sympathetic nervous system, it pulls blood supply away from your stomach because it puts it to your muscles because it's like we need to do something with your heart or whatever, and your stomach's just like no, can't cope. But there's other factors, but that's one thing.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because obviously you're flexing between those to essentially be able those nervous systems.
Yeah,
to be able to regulate filling your cup back up.
Yeah, well, just surviving, to be honest.
Yeah,
Can
sometimes.
you become adapted to that over time?
Well, so
Like, say if you were running on like cortisol all the time and you were constantly like catabolic, can you get really used to that sort of feeling?
from experience, you can think it's normal until
Yeah.
and actually allow the time to decompress. And I was talking about actually before we came on the podcast, with 2023 being diagnosed with PTSD, ambulance service, 6 months off work, couldn't leave the house unless I was going to the gym, was not in a good way. And until until the day I broke at work, I thought that's how you felt. I thought that was normal. I thought, and we were talking about an impending sense of doom. I thought that, well, when I got the impending sense of doom, I did start to think, okay, this isn't normal. But this constant go, 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 not resting, brain constantly churning, constantly moving, constantly, right, I've got to be here at this time, there at that time, do this, do that, do whatever. Now it's sleep. Oh, I can't sleep. Oh, I'm up again. Oh, just constant. I thought that was how I was meant to feel. And it wasn't until taking that step back and I go back to what I was saying at the beginning, had to really focus on not doing a fucking thing. That it, and it's still to the, even 2 years later, there's still times where I'm like, okay, this kicking in again a little, or just remnants of it. And actually, I just need to be patient with myself and go, you need to chill out. It'll be okay, but you're still not fully over that yet. It does take a long time, but that was a symptom of how long I let it go on for as well.
Yeah, because I guess another sort of, if you were to realize that was happening, Sophia, would be essentially towards burnout, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
To then realize that actually you're getting to a point where you're not able to do, or you get this pending sense of doom, or it's like I don't feel myself, and I don't know what this is, and it's quite hard to establish then. So how do I then enter into chill out time?
It's things like even more forgetful than you would maybe normally be, more clumsy than you'd normally be, more irritable,
Yeah,
maybe like lacking the motivation that you'd normally have, or like having the joy that you'd normally have. The symptoms, anxiety, depression, stress, burnout, there are lots of intertwining symptoms, but it's, having the ability to take that step back and be introspective of how you're behaving, and the people around you is almost a bit like when you're on anabolics. Are the people around you commenting that you're behaving differently?
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things, because I was thinking earlier when you were saying about obviously fatigue in prep and all, like the bad things about prep. I actually felt so much better in prep last year than I do now, because I feel like I'm just dragging my feet all the time and like constantly fatigued. But I feel like as if maybe it's because I'm so used to just running on fumes all the time, running about, that now that I am having to slow down. I did a full deload last week, which I've never ever done, and I found it the hardest thing in the world to, know that. So she gave me an extra cardio session to ease my mind because I just can't. I just can't stop. But
learning to not use the gym as something, we all
Like an
want
outlet or...
to distract ourselves, but it's not something that should be because you're not able to sit still.
You
have to have that balance. It's like if you're uncomfortable just sitting on the sofa, watching TV, reading a book inside, and you can't do that, give yourself half an hour of that at some point during the day or every other day, because that makes you feel uncomfortable or anxious. You need to work on that and not do the things that your mind and your body is telling you to do, and sit with that. And it's almost like being in prep and sitting with that uncomfortableness. You have to, but the fatigue is partly because your body's just gone, and everything that was upregulated to keep you going has had a chance to relax and switch off. And like you say, it's now like, oh fuck. It's because of what you have been doing. Your body now is trying to rest to recover from that. And it can feel worse before it starts to feel better. But you can't.
Thank you.
Have to just sit with it.
I will try.
Not fun, especially if anxiety is in play and it's there just rumbling on, and you're there sort of fidgeting or twitching or what.
I think as well in prep, I was just thinking what you said there, Sophia, while I was going for a wee. You're so transfixed on the goal, and you're seeing your body changing in a different way to season as well. And that's certainly how I sort of got hooked on multiple preps, because it's like feeding the dragon, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then off season's quite hard to adapt to when you've obviously got goals in place, but it takes quite a lot of time. It did for me anyway. Like it took ages to understand how that could be, and how I could bring down expenditure, and it's quite hard when you're in that prep sick, right? Like it's cool, it's fucking savage, but it's so cool because you've just got you've got so many tick boxes, and you've got them in off season as well. It's different. Like
It's like in off season, if you miss a tick box, sometimes I'm a bit like, okay,
yeah,
meh.
yeah. And
In
more,
prep, it's like, no.
yeah. You get in, and it does probably feed our personalities quite well. Like I said to you, didn't I, CJ, with your ADHD? When are you better? And it's like you're better in prep.
Better in prep. Yeah, better in prep. But I'm probably a nicer person in off season, say, but maybe, I don't know. But like overall with like sort of just maybe being able to manage because I've got so much structure, yeah, I'm better. But then this time round I've been like, I'd say much better this year than last year and stuff. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's like a 20% where things have been just bit like, but 80% has just been bang on. But it's the struggle of like learning to let go of like, oh, I have to sit down. Okay, I'm not gonna go and do another 40 minutes worth of steps because I want to stand on the scales next week because I'm worried because you're not in prep. It's like just getting your head around the fact that scales might stay the same for 6 weeks. And that's fine. But yeah, it's all a learning curve. But this makes it easier having these conversations and just like understanding that you're definitely not on your own, because we all know we're not, but no one's openly, but not everyone needs to talk about it, but there's enough people to talk that allows others to sit back and be part of it without having to come forward and say, hey, that's me, because not everyone wants to put a face to what they're going through, but at least they feel, oh, okay, I'm not by myself.
Yeah, it is like and changing the narrative
We on
to
mute?
no, I think we're on. Yeah, they can hear
Oh,
us.
there was just mute in the corner.
It's that flip of narrative and being able to just it does come with time. Like it's a bit of a weird. It's hard because
I missed the first bit of
you're
the
going down
conversation.
body weight, you're going up with body weight, and then like CJ was just saying, you sort of hold your body weight in off season for a bit, and then it would tick up, and your plan maybe stays the same, and you sort of
Off season's monotonous.
yeah.
There's no other word for it.
Plus, you're hoping that you've made gains a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I'm not just depressed that nothing fits.
yeah, make sure you have two wardrobes. There's nothing wrong with it. Because it's also like, because I put a pair of trousers on the other day, I was like, oh my God, they fit. They fit. Because I haven't worn them for ages.
I've got to the point where my sports bras are no longer crushing my lats and my ribs, which is nice.
Yeah, because
nice.
it's uncomfortable. Yeah, we're both like, we're just going to take the bras off.
Yeah.
Relax.
I haven't worn a bra in 2020.
We've got assisted breasts, so
No, it's fucking uncomfortable. No other reason.
live for comfort. Live for
Wasn't even big enough to not need one, but it was just like, fuck this.
Do any of you have any questions or anything you'd like to ask us before we wrap up, my people?
All the gummies really hit me in the face.
Yeah, in a minute.
Nice.
Actually, I really need to eat as well.
I'll put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
We'll be full board tomorrow, so we'll
Yes.
see you tomorrow, Vicky. Sophia, I will keep you updated as to how it goes. I think
Thank
it's some sort of talks and
I don't actually. I should know. I don't.
she's turning up as the
Wing it, like yeah.
famous one. She's been on the Olympia stage, so you only need to turn
no.
up.
No. I know. I'm doing blood work. I'm doing some posing. I think that there is the option session with the group. I don't think I'm on a rest day, so I'm not training.
I said to Romana, I was like, I just train on my own. I like obviously.
Were you training Sarah then? Will you train after?
I will probably come back to destination because I'm a bit of a like I know my kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It weird.
It was weird walking today because I was like, do you have a pec deck? Do you have this?
Done that?
Trying not to be awkward over here.
Yeah.
And the weird man in a vest was waving for no random reason.
One of the guys that I mentioned on the pot, the guy that stares at your tits, I was like, there's the guy that stares at my tits. I'm like, hello, I'm here. And then she met Clint, as in she went, who's that guy with the gilet?
He keeps doing this.
Honestly, he's harmless. He's not the tits guy, but he goes.
This guy was busting double biceps in the mirror, so I decided to do a bit of posing a bit further away from him.
it's just like
But you still look bigger than him.
it's funny 'cause he goes, right, guess what? How much do you reckon these trainers were? And I'm like,
Don't care.
I don't know. And they're like a £500. And he's like,
Oh,
25 quid for you. 25 quid. I'm like, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. And he's like, no, just take my number.
What? As
25
in
quid.
the shoes off his feet?
He has like loads of
Oh,
shoes at
right.
home, Dunny, and everything.
Yeah.
And he said to me the other day, he was like, you're getting leaner. Can see your abs. And he went to touch him, and I went,
No.
I was just so harmless. You're like, I don't actually mind, but you can only just, what it's like.
Small doses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know with training, I get a bit.
So when we did a seminar a couple of years ago, the way they did the training was broke off into groups. I don't know if that's what they're doing this time, or I know Ali Fraser's there.
That's
who's
Vicky's coach.
Yeah.
That's my coach.
So he's doing, I don't know if he's doing a training demo or training with, I'm not sure. I should know, but I don't.
He just said to me that he was training after. He's doing the seminar. He's done all the timings, apparently. That set all the timings out, so it'd be very orderly, Romana.
Right.
Ali's like, just. And then he's training.
That's what I got in my head.
Is it
Yeah.
9:30 start? Yeah.
Yeah, just Emily told me.
I was like, what time is it start?
9:30 to 2:30, and then it's training,
Yeah.
if you wish.
Nice.
He'd be there posing.
Yeah.
He's going to teach me some figure posing, but don't tell
You
anyone.
need to teach me, Romana, because I'm moving. I'm transitioning to. I'm going over to figure. You see,
Oh,
so
have you decided
I've got a
already?
clue. I've got a clue what I'm doing.
Wait, are we-
Yeah.
are your figure, and Heather, are you figure?
I started figure, but now I'm bodybuilder. But it depends what stage I go on, I guess.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So if you want idiot to use me, because I ain't got a clue. I ain't got a clue. But apparently that's what I'm moving to this year. So yeah, I'm gonna get the skates on.
yay! I'm happy.
Oh yeah, I remember talking to you about it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's figure, definitely.
Yay.
Too big for bikini now, so yeah, it's figure.
Very good.
Nice. Well done.
Yeah.
So,
You got another bodybuilder as well.
Yeah, we'll be over there in the flats. Thanks.
Yeah. Red bloody heels. Oh.
Yeah.
so that means everything. I've got to buy new shoes, new suit, everything. It's just like didn't quite budget for that this year, but I hope
You'll love it.
We did
Yeah.
my first
You'll
show
be
where I had a
fine.
pink bikini, and I literally just got the back of it and tied it to the knickers.
I was tempted to do that last year, mind, for the prices on them. And then I spent about 500 quid on a bikini. And then I wore it again this year at the Welsh, so it was fine. So I got 2 uses out of it. But they're so expensive.
Yeah.
It's mad.
To be fair, there is somebody localish to me that she makes. She
I
made
know
my
who-
bikini last time, so I'm probably going to go to her because she's just that little bit cheaper. And obviously, I can go for trying on, and I haven't got to muck and mess about. Do you know what I mean? It's just
You
Probably
won't
like
get better. You
50
won't get
quid.
better than Miss Bikini Fitness though in Scotland.
You won't.
She's made all mine.
right. Okay.
My sponsor, so I have to say no.
Yeah. And she's Romana's
Yeah.
sponsor, but hands down, she's made all of mine, right down to my posing, all to into the stage. She's
I'm
incredible.
open to look. I'm open
She's
to look at others.
incredible.
Yeah.
What I would
She
say
is.
if money is an issue, there is naught wrong with getting one off eBay, Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, that is an option.
Vintage.
To be honest, I hadn't thought about it yet, but I just I know that's I want to get the posing coach sorted, and then it's bikini, and then obviously new shoes. I've got to make stuff.
Their old ones.
Yeah.
Vicky, are you near me?
Yeah, ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm Sheffield, aren't I?
Emma Heineman,
Yeah.
posing coach, very good. She's in Bradford. She's only about 10 minutes from me, but she's very, very, very good.
Yeah,
if you
no,
want
I'm
somebody,
really
because she's
good.
not far from you, I'm just thinking local wise.
Yeah.
Spicy from what I remember.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And then there's a few Manchester-ish sort
Yes.
of way as well, which is not too bad. But there is somebody. There's Phoebe Goodwin. She does it. She's literally 4 or 5 miles away from me. I'm only about 6 miles away from Ultraflex.
Oh, yeah.
So
And miles away from all of you.
But she trains. Sometimes Phoebe trains at the gym where I train, and they've got posing rooms. So I'm going to have a consult with. I'm going to, as you do with coaches, you have a couple of consults, don't you? See who you gel with, etc. So yeah, that's the plan this week.
Yeah. You can pick up
But-
different things from different posing
Exactly.
coaches, and then you can pick. Like I use Emma for bikini because she's the one that's been the best for me. But it's about £89 for 30 minutes.
Oof.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. I did a block of 4, and I think it was like it worth 200 and odd quid.
And definitely need some in person
hour.
first. Definitely need in person to start off with, I think, just to get my head around it all and everything. I don't think I'd cope with doing it online to start off with. You know, we're never doing it.
Yeah.
I just think you
very
need
hard.
that in person. So that's the plan. So I've got to think about travelling and all that
It
to
is
start
very-
off with as well.
Yeah, that's the problem I've got because I'm in Cornwall and there's just no.
No one.
I
So-
lived in Devon till like 18 months ago.
Ah, fuck.
Did you really?
Yeah. I was in Exeter.
You're in the
Oh,
middle
really?
of Canada.
Yeah. Whereabouts in Cornwall are you?
It's Callington. It's about half an hour away from Plymouth.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time looking at Callington on the map at work.
Really,
And
it's
I will
small.
have a think and I'll see if I can recommend anyone down that way if that would be helpful.
Yeah, I know. 'Cause, is it Amanda Winston? Yeah, she's in Plymouth, which is brill, but she's extremely busy, and I know she's done poses.
Amanda, I love her
And-
spirit, but I would not go to her for bodybuilding posing. Female.
Oh no, I think figure. When I first
Oh, yeah,
started, yeah, when I first started, she
Oh yeah, figure.
taught me figure.
Yeah.
And when she did, I pretty much learned everything from her, from figure, which was brilliant. But then when I got bumped up a category, then I went to bodybuilding. But then she didn't have enough time to do any more posing. It was more, she had a big client base and she said, look, it's not fair for me to, take your money when I haven't got time.
Yeah.
But since then,
Uh,
there's been no, do you know when you just want to have a good couple of rounds of posing in just to brush up on it, learn more, improve, because there's always, you're always improving, aren't you? So
I know Carly Pierce is in Exeter.
Oh, yeah.
She's a WPD pro, and obviously WPD and bodybuilding poses are quite similar. I don't think she's ever done any posing coaching though. That's my only thing as I'm saying it. But I'll have a ponder,
yeah.
see who I can think of.
It's nice to just have. It's nice to look
It's-
forward to it as well.
There's also, I've been to Men for Posing coaching.
Yeah.
So Adriano, the Saxon posing king dude,
Yeah.
who won PCA Pro Classic. He does all the interviews for PCA. I've been to him for posing.
Where's he from?
So he's up in it is quite a way. It's like Saxon Gym, which is Birmingham, Coventry type way, I think.
Has anybody been with that guy in? I think it's London, and he's proper dancey, really
Oh.
camp.
No,
He's
I've got a client
amazing.
that uses him. I've got a client that uses
He used
him.
to be a professional dancer.
Amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
no,
amazing. I love him.
He
Andrea?
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Andrea into
Andrea Pellonis, because he's Italian as well. That's why I remembered
Yeah.
him.
My client uses it.
No, isn't he associated with FMG? Does a lot with FMG.
Yeah,
Which is
and
more,
Pure Elite as well. He does stuff.
Yeah.
More of showy kind of things, isn't it? Like more
I
presentation
have no
stuff.
idea about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like Beth's got this sass and that, and I'm like, I'm literally.
I've never seen anything quite like it. When I first seen him on Instagram, I was like,
It's great.
You got to watch it and watch it again because he's way more feminine than I could ever be in a pair of heels.
I haven't seen him pop up on my pages.
Not on your
Wild,
own.
Jesus!
I love it. I
I
love
need to
it.
get to my last meal.
Oh, she's gonna have a last.
Oh,
minute-
sorry.
Oh, nice one, guys.
Well,
I've been up
thank
since
you for
4 a.m.
joining.
in my defense.
Yeah, she's been on the road. So we will see you tomorrow, Vicky, and I'll
Yeah.
see you guys soon. Hopefully, Heather, we will meet in person one day. We will.
There'll be a day.
But there will be a day.
There will
If
be.
I'm ever in Cornwall, I'll shout you up.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean,
Oh, let's zoom in it. It's my
Thank
eye.
you.
I thought
Thank you.
of a dude, Chris Swan.
all right.
So he does PCA, but he's a lovely, lovely guy. His posing is very, very good. And he's just, he's local. He's there in Newquay. But
All
he's
right.
been
Okay.
He trains at because there's that other place, not somewhere Tavistock way, I want to say.
Yeah, Tavistock's literally 10 minutes that way.
Yeah, because you've got Zone Callington, haven't you?
That's the one I train at.
Yeah.
Did you write it down?
I've Chris Swan.
Love it.
I think he's Chris.
Did you see me write it down?
W's on Instagram. Yeah.
You
Chris
can candy
Swan, 2 W's on Instagram.
Say that again, sorry?
Chris.Swan
Yeah.
with it's double W, so Swan with an extra W.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Well, that's his Instagram. I'll pop him a message and say you might tap him up.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
No worries.
Love it.
I knew I could think
So
of it.
tribe.
Right, food. I need food.
Tribe and vibe.
Yeah. See you tomorrow, those that come.
Thank you so much.
Everyone, see you
Bye.
next time.